tiny room with bunk beds.
This is in Dade City?
Yes, you
Okay.
walked in. It was one of the houses we lived in, and you walked in the back of the back porch, and you walked through, and there's the two bunk beds against the wall. There were windows on three sides. To your right was a closet, and in there was a chest of drawer with 4 drawers and some hanging space because the closet had a thing hanging. And there were 2 chairs. I mean, that was it. There wasn't a lot of room even for a table. We did our homework either in the kitchen or dining room table. Well, anyway, George gets the idea when he's about 8 years old that he's going to rearrange the bedroom. Well, I said, George, you can't do that. It won't work. Well, I'm going to do it. So I took the drawers out of the chest of drawers.
See, that was the first manifestation of being gay. We're
just
going to make it better.
Just to let him,
Beautiful.
just to let him it not be so heavy. Well, he could make this face that would make you laugh. So he starts to try to move the chest of drawers, even with the drawers out of it. And every time he'd look at me, he's trying to move it right.
Oh my God.
Well, the whole thing is ridiculous because
Right.
there's no place to move the
Right,
beds.
that's all you got.
You're going to block the door. But anyway, George is determined he's going to make this happen. You're either going to block the door or you're going to block the space to put, it's just all screwed up. So anyway, George,
Wait, how far apart are you all in age?
4 years.
I remember when they brought him home from the hospital in 1949 with Mom. So anyway, so he's trying to move it, and he's barely moving. He'd look at me occasionally like, I'm showing you. So I started making noises to heckle him. I started like somebody straining but it's not succeeding. I started going every time he'd try to do it, I'd go, oh
my God.
Finally, he gets real mad and he starts screaming at me, right? So Mom comes in. What's the matter, George?
Oh, poor Georgie.
And George looks up at Mom all squinting and everything and says, they'd call me Jeannie back then. He says, Jeannie keeps going. And Mom like, what? Like, what are you trying to say? Jeannie keeps going. And so finally she figures out what it's all about, and she said, well, ignore it. I can't ignore it. It upsets me so much. And she said, well, don't do this to your little brother. What spurred all this? Well, I explained to her about trying to move things, and she said, your brother's right, George. This isn't going to work. So he stopped.
God. Oh my
Well,
God.
one more story while he's
That
got
is
it.
fantastic.
They
really.
went out.
He still does the ooh-ee very
And
He
well.
still does it very well.
This is another one, and I just sat there watching this. They go out and buy some new records together, and she loved Harry Belafonte and other records.
Yeah.
Well, these records were supposed to be like indestructible, that you could scrape the needle over it instead of lifting it up, to put it down. So George is determined to tell Mom, I guess he was thinking that you could save energy by skimming it and then setting it there, whatever. So he's determined.
Saving energy.
So Mom is saying, yes, George, I know it's been tested on a machine, but I just don't really think that's what it's designed for. Well, George was going to have none of this. And of course, Mom is being very patient and very nurturing about it. And all the time, George keeps going zip, 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 zip with a needle over the record, right? So I'm just watching this. I'm a little older now. I'm about 16, and George is about 12, and I'm watching this. So
That must have been very annoying when you're 16 and your brother's 12.
he keeps skimming it over the record.
Oh, I was annoying my entire childhood, not just when I was
Says,
12.
George, please, at least while we're discussing this, don't skim the needle over the record. But Mom, that's my point. You're just not getting it. It's been dead. And he's going zip, zip, zip,
my
zip,
God.
zip, zip. So finally,
He was
after
very tolerant.
about 5 minutes, my mother grabs his wrist like this and says, George, if you skim that needle over that record one more time, and I only heard my mother say shit one time.
bet.
I
This
never
was
heard her
it.
say goddamn, but
Yeah.
her
No,
favorite
no,
thing
goddamn.
was oh hell. Like,
Yeah, I know.
but
Hell was big then.
but
My dad said
well, it
hell's
still
bells.
is. I'm trying to transition
bells.
to that from what
Yeah,
I've said in the
I know,
Army.
I know.
Anyway, she grabs his wrist and says, George, if you skim that needle over that record one more time, I'm going to slap the utter holy, and she almost said shit out of utter holy hell out of you.
Yeah, holy
She
hell.
lets go of his arm. George steps back all upset, turns and stomps off to his bedroom. I misunderstood.
Oh no!
But I
poor
sat there and I
baby.
didn't say a thing during the whole thing. But all this time he's going zip,
Oh,
zip, zip.
God. Well, you're just lucky you didn't get beat up. I think in most.
Well, that
middle
was my
class
father's
families-
role in the family.
I know, but still, you know.
But
The
between
See,
the-
he and Edna have the same disposition.
Between the
really-
Yeah.
and the zip, zip,
Yeah.
I get a big kick out of telling that story because everybody I tell it to
It's so
really
funny.
laughs, you know.
It's just too funny. It's amazing. Zip, zip, zip. I probably would have screamed and yelled like crazy. I'm not really one to hit, but I'm good at yelling.
Mom never spanked us. She went out one time
Oh no, I got spanked
and
once
got
or
a
twice.
Liguster
Yeah.
hedge, but didn't. Well, I don't.
She never used a belt.
She jumped on Dad one time because he'd get a hold of George with shorts, and it's like going in a circle. You know, it made me so mad. Dad would spank you and say, "You're going to stop doing that, huh?"
I
You're
know.
saying, "Yes, yes,
Yes,
and
yes, you can
and
hear it.
if you were brave enough, you'd say, "Yes, damn it, stop!"
Right.
But he'd get on to George, and he'd keep hitting him in the same place, and it'd get.
Jesus.
And Mom said,
Get pretty
"Can't you
wrong.
just pepper him?" But yeah, you keep. But it was funny because they had a love-hate relationship. But poor George is dancing around.
I
his
was
dad.
the favorite child.
But I would often step in and say,
I bet
"Please
you
don't
did.
spank him." You know, I got so tired of it. But
We don't call that spanking. We call that hitting in my family.
Yeah, well,
but he would what he would
Well-
do now he would slap
My brother got
Well-
got hit,
but he
and
would
they called it
cuff poor
spanking.
George.
Well-
and George would be down like this and he'd be cuffing him.
Oh my
But anyway,
Oh,
George
it's always bad.
George
Well,
was
the
so
other-
cute as a little boy when he was born.
He
I
must
thought he
have been.
was
He's still cute.
so beautiful and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. These days I look like a beached walrus,
But
but
he could make these faces that would just make you laugh, and then you wanted to tease him. And
Even
that
more.
ooh, was that's unforgettable.
That
Because
just-
Mom is like, "What do you mean?"
Ooh, Did you ever move the beds?
No, Mom said it's not going to work. And
He
Once
So
stopped.
later when I had the bedroom, I moved them slightly.